Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. Hey everybody, welcome back to another video for Vlogmas. So today I have some recommendations for you for romances where they are snowed in together, they're caught in a blizzard, they're caught in a snowstorm. Some of these are caught in cabins, most of them there's only one bed, and one of them is magical. So let's go ahead and get into it. So now, by the nature of the recommendation that they're snowed in together, like, some of these aren't going to be like the best thing you've ever read, right? Like they're not going to be like a 6-star read, a new favorite, but if you're just in the mood for a snowed in, only one bed, forced proximity, like these will definitely fit the bill. So the first book that I want to talk about is one of my favorite Joanna Shupe series that is very underrated. Very few people actually talk about this book, and it is the Knickerbocker series. The first book is Magnate. So I think this is her first Gilded Age historical romance that she wrote, and it's all about these men who formed the Knickerbocker Club. They're self-made men, they're very powerful, they came from nothing, and the hero in this book, Emmett, is no different for sure. He came from nothing and made himself this very powerful businessman through steel, so he's like a steel magnate. And even though he's like elevated himself in the social ladder where he's not like, you know, a street rat essentially, he definitely prefers that type of woman rather than the social elite, you know, good girls. So color him surprised when Lizzie comes knocking at his door and offering a business proposition. Now, she is definitely a lady, super high class, on the top of the society ladder, and she is excellent at the stock market and predicting stock markets and finances and things like that. However, because she's a woman, she's having trouble getting backing for her stock market dreams that she has to do. So she says to Emmett, hey, let's have a business deal. If you back my trades, I know what I'm doing. If you back my trades financially, I'll split the profits with you. And he is definitely overwhelmed with her, and he agrees, and that's the start of their business relationship turned to lovers, obviously. So Emmett is a very typical Joanna Shupe hero in that he is a bit of a jerk, douchebag, a-hole for quite a while, but watching him soften, if you particularly like that type of a hero, like, you will very much enjoy watching him soften for Lizzie. And the moment when that finally happens is when they're in New York and they are both caught in an office building unexpectedly in a snowstorm. And this specific snowed-in scene in this book is probably my top 2 favorite snowed-in scenes I've ever read. I mean, the next book has my other top 2 favorite scenes. So this is a really fun read. I think this is a really great series, and I wish more people would talk about it and read it. And yeah, Emmett, you'll either love him or hate him, but I think that you will definitely love the snowed-in scene. Okay, the next book I want to talk about is Simply Unforgettable by my beloved Mary Bellog. This is the first book in a series which is all about women who are sort of like being teachers or in this school. They want to be teachers in this school. And our heroine is a music teacher. Her name is Frances, and she is traveling to her location where she's going to work at this job. And of course, her carriage gets stuck in the snow. In comes Lucius, who is the Viscount, to the rescue. She doesn't know that he's the Viscount at this point, looking very dashing in his black cape to come and rescue her. And he rescues her, they end up snowed in this house, this cottage basically, overnight, and there's an adorable scene where they build a snowman together. They have a great night of passion, a great connection, and then they part ways thinking that they will never see each other again because their social status was just not on par at all. Things happen, however, he can't stop thinking about her, their paths intertwine again, and he wants to, at least if she won't marry him, he wants to have her be his mistress, so there is that type of a trope in here too. But I really loved this book. This book had set my hopes really high for the series. I haven't continued on, but I enjoyed it. And by far the best part of this book was the snowed-in together. The rescue, the snowed-in, it was so good, and I just loved it. So the first 2 books that I mentioned are my top 2 for snowed-in romances. So another book that has a snowed-in scene, which is a little bit unique, is Storm by Carrie Ann Cole. So this is actually Carrie Ann Cole's debut novel, so her writing today is definitely more polished. She's definitely grown and improved in her craft and in her storytelling ability. But this book does have a really great snowed-in scene in the beginning. That's how it starts out. We have our super famous Rockstar bad boy Storm Valentine and his dog, of course, who was one of the best parts of the book. And he is in his pickup truck, and there's a storm. Evelyn is traveling by. She actually has a fiance at the time when she meets Storm, and they end up stuck together, and they shelter in his pickup truck, in the cab of his pickup truck for at least overnight. And that starts their connection. And this book definitely, it was published in 2015, and it definitely reads like it. It definitely reads like that older, when indie romance was sort of just booming and starting to rise, but it was still very, very fun. And Rockstar romance snowed in together, adorable dog, and there is the added tension of, you know, she's engaged to this guy who's definitely a bit of a jerk. Like, you don't want her to be with him, and she's kind of struggling with aspects of that, so there's a little bit of a tension there just between the three of them. So this was a fun one. It's definitely not my favorite Carry On Cold, but I remain impressed by the blizzard scene, the snowed-in scene. It was really, really good. Okay, so now this book is a little different because this is a fantasy romance, and it's also the beginning of a series, and so the romance isn't rock solid in here for sure, but it feels so magical, and I think that if you like fantasy and you like Jane Austen, you would probably really enjoy this. The writing in this is pretty lighthearted, a little bit quirky, and it was just really, really fun. So don't go into this one expecting a hot and steamy snowed-in scene. Go into this for magical, Jane Austen-y type of vibes. So this book is about Cassandra, who lives in a world where women are not allowed to be magicians, but she is a very, very powerful woman. She has a lot of magic, and she is actually the first magician. Then something happens, her magic ends up getting stripped away, and because of that, she breaks things off with her fiancé, who she actually loved and cared about, because she didn't want any, like, disgrace to come upon him. Now, her and all of these other magicians, including her ex-fiancé, end up snowed in this cabin in the woods, and the snowstorm is a result of this rogue magician. And she is the only one with enough magical powers. They're returned to her for, I can't remember exactly why, but they're returned to her. But she's the only one powerful enough to go out and stop this rogue magician from just destroying everybody in this snowstorm. So she goes out to do that, and that's the basic story of this. There is the hint of a reconciliation with her ex-fiancé, too. Okay, so the next book that I have is actually one that is very, very sweet and very fun, very short, but it's got great Christmas vibes, too. This one on this list is one of the few, well, maybe some of them also have Christmas vibes, but this one is called Missing Christmas. It's by Kate Clayborn, and it's a very short, very cute, swoony romance. So the basic premise of this is we have two friends, Jasper and Kristen, and they are friends who have become business partners, and they end up getting sent out just 11 days before Christmas to this scientist's home who they're hoping to recruit for their business goals, and they're on like this very short timeline where they're forced to go and do that right now before the holidays. And so of course they do. A snowstorm happens. They end up stuck at this scientist's home. So he has a guest home, and that's where they both go to stay, and they have this really great night, and it's just adorable, sweet. I think this one is just a little tiny bit steamy, and their first kiss in here, you get to see their first kiss before they get to the house. This is actually something I neglected to say. So they're friends turned business partners, and then right before this trip, they have their first kiss. So they're traveling together with all this tension and concern about, we just kissed and we had feelings and now I don't know what to do, and it's just very, very fun. I liked this one a whole lot. Okay, and the next one that I have is called Professional Development. So this author writes pretty steamy books, and this one definitely delivers on that. This is by far the steamiest book on here. And this one is very interesting because we have two rivals who are co-deans at this elementary school, and the heroine in here was giving me Jess from New Girl vibes, like, big time. And she's a little bit quirky, she's a little bit funny, but she's got, like, such a foul mouth in her internal dialogue, like, she's constantly cussing. And the hero is much more like straight-laced, elegant type of guy who kind of looks down his nose at her. So they're definitely rivals, and then they become lovers. They end up getting sent to this conference for their school that gets canceled at the last minute because of a blizzard, and they're snowed in together in one room. And this was very fun, very short, very spicy, and yeah, if you're looking for those types of vibes, I would definitely recommend this one because it was for sure a good time. So, alright, there you have it. Those are my recommendations for snowed-in romances. If you're a historical romance lover and you haven't checked out Magnate or Simply Unforgettable, like, seriously, you must read those. If you're looking for just a short, spicy good time, then definitely check out Professional Development. And if you want something just sweet with a little bit of Christmassy vibes, give Missing Christmas a try. And then the other two are also great for snowed-in romances if you're looking for that type of vibe. One heavier on the fantasy, magic, Jane Austen-y, lighter on the romance, and one that has a good solid romance but is definitely tropey from 2015 goodness. So thank you so much for watching, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one.